Hello there, it's me. Hi, it's me. It's me and a bunch of people on the roof of the building who were hired to just stand above my head and stomp and make noise all day. So I'd like to welcome them to the show. They're my first guests, the roofers. Maybe they've stopped. I hope they've calmed down their stomping. Hello. It's been a day or two. I got so frustrated playing Into the Breach a few days ago because of, you know, that problem that I had where sometimes Backblaze ruins my life. But that's okay. We did okay. Let's see. Is everything working? Can I hear me? Is this me? Is that loud enough? Am I loud enough? I appear to be loud. Anyway, stream seems okay. Everything seems okay. So here's what's going on. I've been working on the space sphere. Or he's the sun, I think. We did a little dance. In fact, let's just look at the little dance. Actually, you know what? I did the final dance, the capture of this dance off stream. So let's just, for the record on stream, make sure that we've got this dance. Let's pause the music. Heaven forbid that I do something ridiculous that isn't on the stream. Here's where we were as of a few days ago. Oh, good heavens! Pardon me. It's a loud little bling. So yeah, that's where we landed, and I don't really know what I'm doing with this thing. Like, the whole point was just to like take an illustration that I'd done and try to bring it to life. We came up with some stuff with Curvy. We came up with some stuff with Final IK, and it's mostly been interesting. And then I started really thinking like, well, I kind of want to focus on this certain visual effect of the outline, which I've never really done. And in looking at the techniques that people use for real-time outlines, they're kind of a bummer. I mean, they're kind of cool. They're sort of like in the spirit of the technique we use, but at render time instead of at whatever you want to call it, model asset creation time. But the general idea is like you take a thing and you render it bigger, and that's that. 2018.3. Did a new version of Unity come out today? A new version of Unity came out today. Okay, wait, hold the phone. We gotta get a little distracted and check out some release notes and see if it fixed some of the annoying problems that we were having. So the biggest problem was the Visual Studio Code thing. Most of these are not looking super exciting. Prefab stuff. Fix the issue where building Windows standalone player with Create Visual Studio. No, not that. So I don't actually see anything that looks like that problem was fixed. But I will download this later and hopefully it's fixed. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Anyway, ignoring this for the moment. That's lame because it seems like not a complicated problem, and I did see something that said that the issue, that there had been a commit related to the issue. Huh. Okay, well, I'll dive into that a little later. Right now we're 2018.2. Because the other question actually is if the asset store... Can I hear me, by the way? I think so. You know, where's that thing? Changed some menu things in 2018. Not used to it yet. Okay. If Oculus integration still says don't use this with 2018. It does. So that's annoying. Maybe it's fixed. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, we'll stick with what we got. And what you will see is this scene doesn't look exactly like it looked before because everything is ruined and broken. And that is because I've been messing around a little bit with the lightweight rendering pipeline, which in general is actually pretty easy to do. So I imported the package. Some of this stuff I did and then undid. And then I started doing it again. And I thought, hey, I should break things on stream instead of off stream. So let's see. We want to... This seems fine at the moment. And I didn't do the auto material upgrade thing, but it should be easy enough that we will just grab our materials, not the outlines and not the stars because that's a particle. And for now, let's just use the lightweight render pipelines kind of PBR shader, which mostly looks good. I kind of like it. There's some aliasing that surprises me a little bit in that, like, it seems like, I mean, I have anti-aliasing turned on here. This is what's a little confusing about these scriptable render pipelines is, Draclin, you made a thing. Draclin made this. Draclin, show me the thing you made. So, like, this gets a little weird because you can say allow MSAA. So it's allowed by the camera, and it's here on the asset, but then is it also in the graphics settings still? That would actually be a quality thing. We are set to very high. Actually set to ultra, which I don't really need to be. We don't need anisotropic, we don't need that stuff. We could really set to low, probably, and be fine. But like none of this seems to have no impact whatsoever. So anti-aliasing is just not here. So is it only on this guy? This just doesn't look anti-alias to me. Am I crazy? Look at that. That looks jaggedy. It is extremely possible I'm doing something wrong because I just don't know what I'm doing with the lightweight render pipeline stuff yet. But our particle system works, which is good. We got everything in the scene, which is good, except outlines are turned off. And really, outline is the thing. Okay, Draken, what do we have here? Look at that little guy. Look at that little wobble. How'd you do is that a procedural animation? Did you just give him a little hip swing? So what did you build it in? What are you working on? Give me the details. Whoa. Is this for your Scrabble game? Is it going to be a 3D Scrabble with a little friend? I love it. I like that wobble. A little bit of wobble goes a long way in bringing something to life. Yeah, man, the prefab stuff is cool in 2018.3, but 2018.3 is giving me grief. The new version a new release, 2018.3.3 came out today, so maybe it will fix the problems. Maybe the problems that I have I shouldn't even blame them on it. Who knows? Maybe the problem is me. I haven't even really done much with the new prefab stuff. I gotta, like, that project that I was consumed by for the end of last year, we were stuck in 2017.2, which was not ideal. So I'm really just now trying to familiarize myself with all the new stuff in 2018. In particular, the scriptable render pipelines. So what I want is, here's what I think I want. So here's the rabbit hole I've been down. I want outlines on things. I just, as a visual effect, I'm interested in doing that for this. The normal techniques of adding outlines, I implemented some of those and they worked reasonably well. Some of them I did just by like make a thing bigger, turn it inside out and turn it white. Looks like an outline. I also did a shader-based solution where you do basically the same thing at runtime. The problem is I could not find a way to do it very efficiently because there's all these like handy things that Unity will do to help you, like dynamic batching and now GPU instancing and all that stuff. And that stuff only works on single pass shaders, and the normal techniques for doing these outlines real time are multi-pass. And so even though performance isn't a huge concern for this random thing I'm messing with, I wasn't very happy with that. And because I want both of those things, I want batching and I want GPU instancing. I especially want to try this new kind of instancing where the eyeballs, when you draw both eyes, not only simultaneously, but with instance geometry. So there's a new preview renderer for that. In fact, that may only be in 2018.3. So then I thought, and also I'm just interested in the lightweight render pipeline. Problem with lightweight render pipeline is it is fully single pass shaders. Like you can't do any multi-pass in it. And so at first that made me shy away from it, but now I've been looking at alternatives. And one of the things you can do with these new scriptable render pipelines, and I'm not crazy about the current approach, I hope it changes, but you can basically inject a render stage kind of, where the normal stage would be like, can't remember what the actual order, but it's like cull everything, figure out what's going on with depth, render everything that's opaque, render the skybox, and then render everything transparent. I don't know. I think I might have some of that wrong, but that's the basic idea. It's like, oh, we're going to go through these stages and we're going to render these things. And so there's a thing you can do while still using the lightweight render pipeline without even injecting a new, like writing a totally custom one from scratch. We should be able to stick our own render step in there. So we will stick in a render phase that says render everything in the scene, but with a special shader that will tint it white and just pop out the normals a little bit to give it the appearance of an outline. And so I've done some examples of that. All of this stuff seems a little shaky because this is still kind of preview code, but I wanted to give that a shot because I am really interested in these custom renderers. So I think that's the thing to do. And actually I found an example where someone's kind of doing what I would really like to do. So there's sort of two ways to do this. Either you render all the stuff that's painted white and expanded and then draw on top of that. But that seems not as common for whatever reason. And I don't think I exactly understand why. Maybe I do actually, like an ordering thing. Okay, actually I think I do understand that. But the other alternative is you draw everything and then you draw the white, not just outlines, but white blobs where everything is, and then use a stencil to cut it out, which seems not super performant to me, but it seems to be the way to do it. So I think we're going to do that the first time. Silhouette, outline, diffused. Yes, so this shader, unfortunately, is multiple passes, and I bet you this is kind of doing what I was just describing. But I want to try to do everything in a single pass. So how's this one working? Does this do the bloaty normal things? Silhouette only, outline only. But even just seeing that there's multiple passes here, that won't work in the lightweight render pipeline, unfortunately, unless I'm just missing something. Where is the fragment shader? Or any of the fragment shaders? So all this fragment shader is doing is just returning color. Maybe that's the thing that just fills you in. These all seem to return color. How are they doing that line? Maybe this must be doing something in a different way. This maybe is like choking in instead of outside. So this is a variant of outline diffuse. Tune style outline. Yeah, this is the thing that I was talking about. Like bump the, yeah, make a copy of the incoming vertex, but bump it out. And then here's a pass. So surface shaders, you don't put inside a pass because Unity just automatically makes the passes for them as far as I understand. So this is the thing that's just drawing the outline. Looks like they didn't use stencils though. I wonder how they color mask RBG. Maybe they did some kind of blendy mode to do it. Well, that doesn't quite make sense. How would you make sure that that was... So they're rendering what appears to be using the vertex shader again. Well, I'm actually confused about what this one is, because this seems like At any rate, I'm going to try it in a crazier way, because this seems in line with the ways I've seen to do it that require multiple passes, which unfortunately breaks batching and instancing. Which really, I have few enough things in my scene that that's probably fine, but I just want to try to wait to do it in a performant way, especially with some upcoming projects I have where things are going to be tight performance-wise on the devices they have to run on. I'm still a little confused about this one. How are they doing? Oh, here they must be doing the bump off by this with they made Unity Matrix ITMV scaled according to the normal direction. Good heavens, a phone call. Actually, I have to take this phone call. Pardon me. Let's look at the splash screen for a minute. I'm back. Pardon me. How to take that call. Okay, so they're doing the bump out. They make this little offset. This seems like a strange way to do this. Still a little confused about the order in which this stuff is drawn. Anyway, I want it done. I want one pass. Or at one pass, like a drawing. I want all the outlines to draw as a blob, hopefully use all the batching and instancing stuff, and then I want all the color stuff to draw. Because like when I'm just drawing this stuff, I'm at batches 11, and I bet some of that could probably be, that seems like too many. Some of that could be tuned up. Like I could do these planets where they were really instanced. Oh, the pluses may not even have instancing on. They do. So I'm saving a little bit from like instancing the pluses. The planets could be instanced and then tinted with material property blocks for the colors. The thing that's really heavy is this, because I'm just doing it because it's just ridiculous. Actually, it's broken right now, so it's not even that heavy. Where are you, Dash? How did I break you so badly? Oh, it must be the outline shader. Because one of these is still getting used. But we can just ditch it, I think. And I think on the prefab for the dash, what a weird thing. I think we turn off the dash outline. Why do I have two curvy globals? That's weird. And then Okay, yeah, that brings those guys back. Well, suddenly those are drawing much more efficiently. Is that because I have... Why did that suddenly become more efficient? 14. So save by batching. Okay, so that's actually cool. So it looks like the dashes, Curvy is making them in such a way that they are batching nicely. So that's really only 2 draw calls, 1 per eyeball, I guess. So that seems good. But outlines, that's what we got to really figure out here. So the thing I want to do is use that same idea of draw stuff and like balloon it out a little bit that all these other outline shaders do, but not do it as part of the beauty render. Basically, we want to do it as its own total pass. In fact, if we did it that way, we could do a whole different technique. Let's do it this way first, though. So I did find an example that is like lightweight render pipeline outline. I'm not familiar with this website, but just to give it credit, techort.com. So this seems in keeping, and the trick seems to be is that you can do, this is what I'm not crazy about. So basically what you have to do is on the camera, you have to like in queue a new outline, or sorry, a new render pass, and then execute it separately. And it seems a little annoying that there's just not some centralized place to register it, and that you have to do it this way. So I am going to start just by straight up grabbing some of this code and calling it different things because I don't like the way these things are named. So this is basically the idea here is this just sits on a camera. You implement this interface, and because the lightweight render pipeline or the render pipeline in general, just look at the cameras and look for these interfaces, and it will call get passed to in queue as long as your interface has to implement that, and then it will happen. And that seems to be the way that you do this stuff. So what that would require, I think, is I need something that's like in queue outline. Let's do like outline in queue. And I think really all there is to this is that this interface, I don't know what namespace these are in actually. We might have to like register some or include some. Why is my format on save not working? Visual Studio Code is, there it goes. I feel like it treats me poorly sometimes. So yeah, this will be outline in queue. After opaque pass. I don't actually know where that lives. Probably in like Unity, experimental, whatever. And because all this stuff is brand new and experimental, it's unfortunately not super well documented. What is the right namespace for this? N com.unity. What? This is ridiculous. Can I really not find the namespace for this? You're killing me. Anything in here? Are you serious? Is the documentation really that bad? Unity manual. Maybe it's in the same namespace as scriptable rent. Man, are you cool manual Unity? Slow. So scriptable render. This is Unity Engine core module is where render pass lives, but that's not what I want. I want it to be in. I know I saw, was it this? Scriptable render pass example library. Ooh, fancy. Blurry fractions. Cool. Extending lightweight render pipeline, that sounds good. I just need an example. This seems like it shouldn't be that complicated. So experimental rendering, lightweight render pipeline, great. I don't like this implementation of it. I don't like that. I don't like these conventions. It seems like a little clumsy. So we will just rename everything. Why would you say that? Outline pass, you will just be called that. After opaque pass. Why do you feel like that's a problem? Okay, is that not where you live? I after opaque pass. Oh no, what if this is only a Unity 2018.3 thing? Then I would be doomed. Yeah, it is hard to navigate that sometimes. I mean, unfortunately, that just kind of, like with this thing, since it's so new, there's just not a lot of great discussion and examples and write-ups, and it seems like the only place that I've had any luck learning anything about the new render pipelines is like jumping into example code. But yeah, it is a little difficult to navigate. And like this part, this is just annoying. Like, is this only, are these interfaces only available in 2018.3? I guess it's possible. So this says tested in 2018.3. So maybe I need 2018.3 instead. I'm gonna just risk it and then not have proper Oculus support. That would be kind of lame. But I'm so confused about, like, I'm just surprised that I'm not easily finding Unity documentation, that talks about this particular interface. But the fact that if it's not in those namespaces, then yeah, so this says it should be in Unity Engine experimental rendering lightweight render pipeline. Does not seem to mention when that was born, but that makes me feel like it's probably a 2018.3 thing. So let's just do that. Let's just do it. I believe I have the previous version. That new version looks like it's not gonna fix my problems that I had, unfortunately. So let's try this thing and this thing and this thing. And break it all. It's gonna break everything. Hopefully it doesn't break Curvy or Final IK. I'm a little, I feel like these kind of situations with Unity have me like a little bit in be careful what you ask for territory, because I feel like, what was it? I started using Unity a little in like 2010, but maybe 2014, 2015 is where I really started leaning into it. And I just had this feeling of like, I love the software, but it moves so slowly, and they would talk about new features and they would just take forever. Like Unity timeline just seemed like it took, I mean, it took years. It took 3 years from when they first started talking about it. And they seem to have accelerated their development, which I really like. But the downside of that is stuff's just broken sometimes. And there's so many things that have changed. It's not like, oh, this is this single new feature. Great, let's try it. It's like, well, this is this new feature that is also tied to new stuff like the package manager, which is all new. And all this stuff changes. And it means that like the leap forward to try to embrace new functionality means like, well, you also, with that, you're getting a whole lot of other new stuff. Like you are suddenly like, which I guess actually, now that I think about it, that's probably the point of the package manager, is that you can be a little more selective about saying like, okay, I really just want to update this one piece. Please don't break every single other thing. But since the package manager itself is new, I think we're not quite to that point yet, unfortunately. The 2018.3 not working with Oculus integration just feels really weird. Like that seems 2018.3 has been out for, I'm sorry, yeah, 2018.3 came out in November, maybe. I mean, it's been out for some months, and for Oculus integration to not work is pretty surprising and disappointing. Unless maybe it's fixed. Maybe it's fixed. It didn't look like it was fixed. I'm just waiting over here for this progress bar as we go through and re-import everything, most of which I don't actually care about. Okay. Oh well, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Be forced into 2018.3. Those discussions, though, about Visual Studio Code in 2018.3. So we can follow the bug process. So here's what's slightly annoying about this is the issue. It was filed more than a month ago. Priority 2, Severity 3. It's been fixed in 2019.1, but that's an alpha. Like, I feel like that's not even really usable. And while it still seems to be broken, this is going to be backported 2018.3. So this is January 8th. So this is getting close to 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. Coming soon, please fix 2018.3. And just no new real info. But what's weird is like, the fix is in the branch, but does that mean it made it to 2018.3.3? It didn't look like it was in the release notes, but maybe it was. Anybody else had good? Any insight on this annoying problem? And certainly other people are. I saw it to myself with some hours dedicated to this thing. This might be this goofball thing. Yeah, you can't get 4.5. Yeah, so people are just renaming their 4.5.2 installs to 4.5, and that seems to work. It's a little annoying. Seems like a very silly oversight on Unity's part. Okay, everything looks broken. Cool. Hey, but that's a reasonable error. So like now, so this should complain about me not implementing the interface, which is fine. Yeah, great. Okay, I didn't implement that interface, and I didn't. It's true. I didn't do it. So the thing that's missing here is I just need I just need that thing. So I need a scriptable, let's go steal that code wherever it was. So that was the outline pass itself. That's a more complicated version. So this is the outline pass, which they've called for some reason imp, which I don't like that. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to call it outline pass. Because one class's job here is to enqueue the pass, and one is the actual pass itself. And this is a scriptable render pass, which I don't know, is that an abstract class that we just, are we just extending? Let's see. Does not implement execute. Oh, so we're just missing some. That actually doesn't. Visual Studio Code gets a little bit weird about what it decides is an error or not sometimes. Good grief. Yep. Keep importing Unity. I'm excited for all this stuff to work well. I'm excited about the idea of having control over the render pipeline. I don't even want full control. I don't really, I mean, at least for the kinds of projects I see in the near future, I don't anticipate needing like to write my, like a custom render pipeline from scratch, but okay. So this is, I mean, these are actual errors. These are problems because the code is bad, and that's my own fault. So like, we just don't know. We just don't know this yet. I mean, I guess we just, this is the easy thing to do, just throw in those shaders. Okay, let's grab those shaders too. Even though I'm not super crazy about how they work, but okay. So this is an outline shader. It does the thing that is super simple, is just like bloat the model by pushing all the vertices out along their normals. So that's a pretty simple one. Oops. So now it can hopefully find that shader. Oh, weird about where the like include for that. Or my packages may be screwed from trying to I wonder if we can fix that easily. From updating Unity versions, do I now need to go in here? I do. So looks like I need to go into the package manager, update to 4.8.0. Oh, which is not preview? Does that mean like that is actually released? That'd be kind of cool. I feel like this project is a mess just from me in the course of playing with it, like upgrading and downgrading versions of Unity, blowing everything up, setting it on fire. Well, that's okay. That's how we're going to learn this stuff. I do want to add a certain shortcut to Visual Studio Code while I'm thinking about it. I don't remember how to do that though. Keyboard shortcuts, open default. Open keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, there's like a refresh or there's a thing you can do to like force the project to rebuild essentially when it gets in a wonky mode, just so you don't have to like exit. But I cannot remember. What is it called? It's like rebuild, I'm pretty sure, now that I think about it, that was something that did not have a default shortcut. So maybe that can be my clue. Reset editor. Restart OmniSharp, restart. Let's see. Reload window. Is that the one? So I think I made that like Control-Alt-Shift-R. Maybe that's what I was using before. I don't know. Okay, I think that can save you when you get in a weird state where like Visual Studio Code's opinions of what's going on don't quite line up with Unity's. Okay, so is this now a functional script? Are you happy? We've got this thing. I think we still have problems. Let's see if we get that shader to recompile. Okay. So we are functional. Now I probably need to, let's check a few things. So in the process of this looks fancier now, kind of, in that it has some drop downs. And I did oh man, they moved this stuff. They've moved all this stuff. Okay, now we're in project settings, graphics. There's our pipeline asset, so that's good. So why aren't we actually drawing? Are my materials bogus? They've changed the name of these. So we don't want stars. So now it's called, wow, what are these? Simple lit or lit are these shader names. Okay. Is the problem this? I mean, is it because this is broken? This is bad? Okay, yes. Okay, so that's actually kind of good. It's broken in a good, promising way. Congratulations to us. Seems like we've got to start on this. So we want to outline. So we need to enqueue the thing. Did we actually finish this? Or did I comment out important things? So getting the shader, unlit simple outline. Let's try on the eyeballs, for example. Unlit. So is that simple outline shader busted? Ah, yes. Okay. So that shader is saying we can't find the path to packages. Do I just need to look for lightweight RP and change the path to that shader library? Core. Lightweight space RP. This is a shot in the dark. Inside the shader itself. That wouldn't feel great. Packages, lightweight RP, shader library, core HLSL. Is that not what we've discovered here? Maybe you need to get that path in a different way. Like if I don't include this, what happens? It probably breaks for some other exciting reason. Yeah, transform object to hclip. Like I'm pretty sure I need that. Need that include. So how do we find it? Wait, render pipeline core HLSL. What's the answer? Can you look it up by... So what was here for, like... Is that a true path? I'm a little confused. Or do you have to look it up by some weird namespacey way? Okay, well, where were we? We were in this repository, and this repository seemed like it had some useful things. So maybe if we go poke around in here. So I feel like we're good on that stuff. It seems like the shader's just busted. So this is how they have done this. Render dash pipelines, lightweight core HLSL, and then render pipeline shader library macros. So kind of seemed like it found the thing. So what are we actually mad at here? Oh, that's just syntax. Okay. Pretty cool. Oh, except we have a pretty crazy problem. Concerning our dashed lines. Well, let's ignore that for a minute because we did the thing. We did the thing we wanted to do, which is we have now injected a custom render pass. Like this render pass is now going on in here. It's not using the correct color, which is weird, but I think it's working. I wish there was a way. Do any of these like sort of want some kind of visualization tool to know, to see the passes. I thought there was a way to do that. Some kind of GPU profiling tool to frame debugger maybe. Render opaques. I just don't exactly know how these custom passes fall into this, into that particular stack. You know, like where is there even a place that we can see this? I don't know the answer. So instead of this, let's just, so outline color is only defined here, and it looks like that should be set to whatever gets passed in here, which in this case looks like the thing we pass is outline color, which is, well, Draken's not going to like this, or no, he will. Draken will like this public field being in Pascal case, and the private one's in camel case. That feels weird. I don't like that. So we pass this color in here. This is creating a new outline pass. We're finding that shader. Outline color, there's a space right there. I bet that's our problem. Maybe it was just weird cut and paste error. Did that, how do I know? Yeah, okay. Ooh, oh, that seemed bad. Okay, no, that's good. So this is the thing. So what looks like it's not working now is the stenciling. And that's a little annoying because I would actually prefer to render this before. Like I want to render, what is the way to do that? I don't really want to render this after and do the stencil. Maybe that's actually the right way to do it, but I don't want to. So before camera render, is that? after the opaque pass, that's how you get pass to in Q, but before camera render does not do that. So after depth pass, we could try after depth. After the depth pre-pass, I need to find out what the ordering is because I don't remember like the order that this stuff happens in. Removed that. Okay. After opaque post-process, after skybox, after transparent, after render. But I want to do it before. And this says they have removed after depth. So that doesn't sound great. What's the answer here? Like, after depth pre-pass, kind of looks like it's still there. Get past doing Q. Wants a descriptor. This doesn't want a color attachment handle. It wants, well, let's just do this. So I don't know if this might be a bad idea. That seems to not really be the thing that we want. Okay, so the thing that's just annoying is the following. If we want to do the stencil, unless maybe the normal shader supports stencils. Oh wait, why did that? Okay, yeah, man, that's a thick outline. So what would be handy is if we could set up anything related to stencils here. But I don't think you can. Life is yours. Why don't you get notified? I don't know. Am I supposed to do something? You know, now that you mention it, I don't think I got notified that my stream was going live. Did I accidentally turn something off in the dashboard? Possible that I screwed it up. Ads. You watching ads? I hope they're good ads. UI elements debugger, interesting. Okay, so we're like close here. I feel like we're close here. Now you can hear me. Hello. I don't know the answer. I feel like I didn't get the normal notification on my phone that I normally get when I start streaming. I don't know why that is. I don't think I did anything. It's possible I did. So it's a little annoying because I just want to do I don't even know what that even means. I don't really want to have a custom shader for all these dudes and then implement lighting and all that nonsense. But I guess I could so that I can stencil, but I want to just draw before. That would make it easier. Also, man, those dash lines, this technique seemingly did not work well. Top Gear ads. Top Gear. Well, okay. I guess I can live with that. Okay, so the short answer to this is like we need to work with this particular approach where it seems like we can only draw after the opaque pass. Like, then the only thing I know how to do is stencil. And that's what this example does. So we could just write a simple stencil shader. Maybe we can just throw in, yeah, I think we're just gonna have to have our own shader. Slightly annoying. I don't even want it to be unlit. I want a lit shader, but for the moment, let's do simple color. And another thing that's annoying, I think they don't do the that Unity does not do in the little create shader menu. I don't know that this creates shaders compatible with the lightweight render pipeline. But that's okay. I think we can still figure this out. I think we don't even need this. So what we will need to do is on all of these things, use that simple color shader. Is it gonna do it? Let me do it. Can I not? There we go. Okay, that seems like I did something really wrong. This looks like it should be dark red. It looks like everything with that. And I kept all the stencil stuff before, simple color. You need one of those lines on your website. Wait, which line? What lines? What am I? Oh, a dashed line? Doing a timeline that is not working. That sounds, hey. Stuff has to not work before it can work. It's a natural part of the process is for things to be broken and frustrating, I think. So, what have I done? Unlit simple color. Great. That looks great. That's a little weird because that seems like, why would you call that simple color and not pass a color to it? Is this just because I have a texture in and otherwise it would default to red? Is that not what that shader looks like it does? Where did it go? Wait, come back. Not you. Simple color shader. Dotted lines. Like CSS-y dotted lines? Are you gonna do it in processing or something? What's your strategy? If I was gonna do dotted lines on a website personally, do they need to be dynamic? Even if they don't, I would probably do SVGs. Like, I bet you can do like dynamic SVG. Yeah, like on your SVG stroke, pretty sure you can set it to dashes, and then you could just have some, I don't know if you can do, I assume you can do SVG-ish stuff. Dynamic, but like this could be dynamic. The control points of your SVG could move around. I would even maybe look at like, I always feel like D3 is so heavy, but other kinds of real-time SVG based stuff. I haven't looked at, like, does P5 have good oh wait, sorry, what are you using? JS Ant? Oh, JavaScript and HTML. Well, but SVG doesn't even really have to be code necessarily. I mean, I guess if you want to move down around the control points and stuff. Does P5 have any SVG support? Examples. There's a shape, a filter, an SVG element, SVG graphics. Look at these shapes. Manipulating existing. Some kind of scroll event and hiding and showing elements. That sounds reasonable for a timeline. timeline-esque thing. What did I break? Okay, so no, this comes from the texture. So this is dumb. Why would you call it simple color when it's really a texture? So we would maybe just do like color, float? I can't remember. I actually can't remember how this works. And then we just need like, and then we just multiply. I don't know if I did that correctly at all. That looks broken. I feel like the shader errors are worse now. Like there's, I don't know if something, the shader compiler changed in 2018.3, but what's your problem? I just feel like I used to get more useful. I mean, I also should probably like look at, I just can't remember the actual syntax. Is that not right? Okay, what is the actual thing? Unity, shader, color, property. I'm probably just not remembering correctly. No, color is a type. Did not remember that. Oops, what now? Oh, and it has to be specified as a float? I don't remember that. Okay, so now we have like no anything, which is okay. Like no lighting at all, which actually I didn't expect to like it, but I kind of like it. I kind of like it with no lighting. But we have mysteriously lost our outline now. So our camera still seems to be doing the thing. Simple color, I didn't mess with other than adding a color to this. I wouldn't imagine that that would mess anything up. It's funny that they left in fog support for this. This just seems a little... Wait, is this not the right one? Oh, did I not? This is my fault. This is my fault, I believe. I believe I did not paste the shader in there that I meant to paste in there. This one, simple color. Did I not put this in here? Okay, that's why nothing made sense. Yes, it should just be red. So now we should have red with outlines? Okay, yeah, right. We need those paths, this stuff. And so what actually changed here? What's different? Render dash pipelines, lightweight. Is it just the spaces made it mad? Maybe that's all it is that some weird spaces got introduced and made it angry. Okay, so now we have an outline that is black. That looks pretty weird. And like I'd like per object thickness and that kind of thing, but we can make that happen. It's funny how I don't want this. Why isn't this times the? I want to add the normal. I don't want the vertex. I want the Do I not have that? Surely I do. Norma. I want to normalize the normal? Oh, this is not the right idea. V.normal. Implicit truncation of a vector at line something. Normals are only float threes. That looks just so broken for the dashes, but that is looking better for the pluses. So that's good. Outline color, is that just not coming through for whatever reason? I don't really care about setting it on the camera. I don't really want to do that. I kind of want it set. Oh, but there's no material. I guess I could get the material. I think what I would want to do is make the material that I wanted and set up all the properties and then give the material to, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. So inside here, instead of passing the color around, we got to get a material anyway. We don't want to create a material. Let's just pass the material. Like outline material. And we don't need, I do not like the names of some of these variables. We just got to go through and rename everything. So we're just going to have outline material because we're going to get it. So register shader pass name. Does it have to be called this? Is this required by the interface? No. Oh, it could be anyway, because you can't require fields in interface. So why are we called that? How about this? Okay. Outline material. Okay, actually we do need. Because that's how we're going to get it. Okay, I'm making assumptions here, but I think they're fair assumptions that we can have a public material. Oops. And then the outline material is what we'll actually pass in here. No! Okay. And then that should change this. And then we will make a... This feels a little cleaner anyway. We will make a material. That is our outline material. It will get the simple outline shader. Color needs to be public in there. Why does this thing look crazy? We need some properties. In both cases, actually. If I remember the syntax, I think we just do this. I think we just need, and we just want color again, and hopefully that matches with the color that I already set everywhere, because it would be slightly annoying if it didn't, but not super annoying. I guess auto format just does not work on shaders. Is that what I'm seeing here? I don't remember that being true. I thought it would work like this format on save. Yeah, if this was like underscore color. Oops. One. And then this color we need to declare somewhere, like here. Is that where I'd like to do that? And then color is what we will... Can I do that? I think I can. I don't think it has to actually go through the vertex shader. I think I can get it in the fragment shader. Yeah, okay. So there's our nice little Pac-Man world. I kind of like the way that looks like. I kind of like the way that looks. It was an accident, but it's kind of cute. Okay, so let's just do the exact same thing here. And this will be our outline color, but we'll just call it color because whatever. And we'll eventually add an offset. In fact, let's just do it. Offset, and this will be can this be a float? I just don't remember the syntax for that. In fact, I'm not sure that you can just have a float, now that I think about it. No, you can. There's just no, yeah. So now we can get rid of outline color and use color instead. And this magic number can be offset. And then we just need a float for color and a float offset. No. Oh no. Okay, fine. Is that offset not offsetting enough? I mean, that kind of looks here like that's working. Oh, I didn't set it. I didn't feed it to the camera. So now I need to put my outline color here. And I had hoped that would instantly work. It did not. Because this is negative. Ow. What did I break this time? That's my material. It's got a color. I don't know why I defaulted to this since I gave it all ones. I thought it would default to white. Let's momentarily turn off the stencil. And I would have expected that to draw on top. So this seems like maybe the thing I thought I could do, I can't do. Maybe I need to like clone that color or something. Oops. Okay, look at that. We got an outline. There's some weird properties of it, and this is just by virtue of the way we're drawing it, is that any kind of overlapping won't be outlined. We could maybe change that if we could figure out how to draw behind instead of on top, but I just don't know if we can. But maybe we'll just call that a stylistic choice. Do I know anything about MySQL? Once upon a time, I was a SQL poet, but that was close to like 17 years ago, and I would write these short novels in SQL and make crazy query statements. But now I never do SQL. I only do like no SQL usually, or like Redis databases or things like that. Or what was that thing for a while? Parse was cool, but it has been a while since I've done any SQL stuff. Too bad that Parse doesn't exist. Parse was a cool thing. Does it still exist in some form? Because then it was all like just JavaScript objects. Object and file storage. I wonder if you can still use this. I really haven't needed like that kind of data store for a while. Max user connections. Cool. Why is that true? Are you doing something silly where like you're making a new connection like in a loop or something instead of just... What are you doing on the back end? PHP? I don't know the answer. I could maybe see some problem like if in a loop you're connecting, doing it on a GET request. Yeah, you should close it after you open it. But that's weird. Like, I wouldn't even figure that you would have to. Just like a single request, your PHP script should be like, I'm good, close the connection. I don't even remember having to explicitly close MySQL connections in PHP, but maybe you do. But also make sure that you're not doing something like just accidentally opening a bunch of connections in one time. I don't know if just, I mean, PHP sucks. I haven't used it for a while, but I can't remember if just nulling your variable is gonna be enough. But I seem to remember that you can just call close. But I mean, I haven't used PHP in a long time or MySQL in a long time, so it's very possible that the rules are different. And I do not miss those days at all. Okay, this looks pretty good. The weirdest thing is what's going on with the outlines. I mean, the dashed outline. And I know why that is. It's because it is non-manifold. Then why are you using PHP? Oh, it's for work. I'm sorry. Non-manifold geometry, I think, is our issue here. Can this detect the things? I mean, the issue is basically that there are separate vertices there for the sides, which you don't really want. If you're going to draw a cube, you kind of want just the same. You kind of just want 8 vertices instead of whatever, 24 vertices. I mean, PHP, I have a weird opinion of PHP because PHP was kind of like my first programming language, other than like messing around in BASIC or like writing stuff on my calculator. Like when I first was like, I'm going to start making stuff, PHP was where I started. And I guess I knew it was, I mean, it's a hard thing because it's almost like a meme of how bad PHP is, but it kind of is actually true. And even then, even when it's all I sort of knew, it was kind of obvious that it's like, there's real problems with this, even just in terms of like the language inconsistencies, whatever. But I haven't done anything in PHP. Maybe I did like a small project in 2012 or something, but now I kind of go out of my way to never do it. And I just don't like, I haven't needed large persistent data stores. I do Redis data store kinds of stuff and sometimes do Mongo kinds of things, but I don't know. That's just, in general, if I need a data store, the project is like, it's probably not the kind of work I want to be doing. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. It would be hard I'd be kind of curious to see the current state of PHP. I'm curious about it, but it's not. Oh, you know what? Actually, what I just said was not true. I still do PHP occasionally because my site is still WordPress based. And so whenever every few years, I'll like rebuild the site and rewrite all the templates and whatever. And that's all PHP based, but it's only templating, not like application development. So this should work. This should work. And I should have like a real cartoony dude floating around in space having fun. Do I have XR support turned on? No. I think when I do this, something weird is going to happen because there's something kind of funny about how... Okay, that actually worked that time. I do like Node. I mean, JavaScript has a ton of problems, but in Node you can write ES6 JavaScript. You can, or whatever we're on now. Who knows? I haven't even checked in a while. Like write something that feels like a fairly robust application. Okay, let's see. Okay, Oculus is gonna start. Hopefully it doesn't crash the stream. We good? Why did this not start in the headset? Look at that guy. Oh, he's adorable. What a cutie. Get out of my way. Okay, let's... That actually looks pretty all right. I kind of like the cartoony. I didn't really anticipate liking that. I just did it because it was easy. But I think it looks kind of good. Now, so biggest problems are, there's definitely some like Z buffer stuff with this outline. Oh, that's a real problem. That is actually a bad annoying problem. Oh, lame. That is a problem I had not considered. I probably will see it like elsewhere if I could reach on top of something. Yeah, kind of that outlines. So the general idea is that the outline is always behind everything, which I don't mind so much for something like this, or even like the fact, you know, like over the face, the hands aren't outlined. I'm kind of okay with that stylistically, but that becomes problematic with the stuff like the dashed lines, because then the dashed lines just start to look like a bad Z sorting problem. Dang it! And anything that's big doesn't bother me so much, I don't think, because I think it's a relatively easy problem to solve compositionally, but also like stylistically, it doesn't bother me, I don't think, that much. So what are potential solutions for that? That would be a problem anywhere anything overlapped. Maybe we can turn on some Z and still respect some Z. I don't know quite how we would do that though, unless, because if we respected Z, we'd be drawing on top of our dude. I do really like gesticulating and talking as this sun though. I mean, that part I'm into. Pretty into that part. Well, I had not anticipated that. That is annoying. We could potentially do more render passes where we have like a render layer sort of thing and say like, the problem with doing things layered like that is like you're no longer respecting Z. You're sort of just saying like, this thing is on top or underneath, not in front of or behind of. And those are like, you know, separate concepts. And I can't even easily necessarily say, I guess I could come up with a way to do it. Like you could come up with a way to say like, oh, the dashes are their own thing and the dashes will just be drawn in their own way. Actually, it is kind of interesting. Oh, the particles aren't affected because the particles aren't opaque, because the particles are rendered transparent and we are drawing our outline between opaque and transparent. It doesn't affect them. So we could come up with some weird solution where the dashed lines were some sort of like billboardy kind of thing. I don't love that, but it's a thing that could work. Well, what's the right answer here? So this seems pretty good. It seems pretty, seems nice and performant because there's nothing going on, but it's like not disastrous performance-wise, which is good. They say never go fully virtual. I know, it happens. Sometimes it happens. That's like the story of, that's kind of like what it goes on in Superhot, right? There's a low latency feature on Twitch now. Well, my goodness. Let's turn it on. Where would I do that? Channel settings, perhaps? I remember seeing that at one point and that it was like marked as experimental, but maybe is it good now? So I'm in channel settings. Optimization. Normal latency, best for highest video quality, highest resolution, and to reduce video buffering. Low latency, best for near real-time interactions with users. Do you think I can switch this midstream? Is it going to ruin everything? What if it ruins everything? Maybe I'll try it next time. Maybe we'll try it next time. I'm slightly afraid to turn it on. Okay, so we've got our little sunshine guy. The dashes are a problem, but the dashes were already a problem. I kind of actually like him cartoony, but let's get some lighting. So this is annoying. I want the, well, presumably the code for the lightweight render pipeline shaders is just right here. So let's see what their basic lit shader. So if I wanted to, I could probably just this is kind of interesting because this gives you different light. So there are passes here, but not in like the sense of, I think these are drawn at like different stages. But I kind of want that, you know, almost like, okay, this is light mode shadowcaster, light mode depth only. I kind of want to have a light mode. So these seem to be ways to say, hey, this is how this shader should perform. Yeah, during certain scenarios. So I kind of want to, I wish I could do, oh man, because what would be cool is if I could just put that outline shader in here and say for light mode, can I? Maybe I can. Is that what goes on here? Register shader pass name. Like if I just add this seems like me just guessing, but and add light mode. This might be totally just not even close, but I'm curious. Because it would be kind of cool to cram this in one shader. How broken is this going to be? Quite broken. Okay. I just wanted to know if I could just make up shader pass names. But seemingly I cannot. Vix! Were you silently creeping? That's okay. Thank you for creeping silently. Otherwise, have a lovely day. Just have to start and stop the stream. I'm going to stop the stream fairly soon anyway. I think. Light mode. Can I set the light mode? Bye, Vix. Light. Probably can't, but that would be kind of cool. Like scriptable render pass, light mode. Light mode defines a pass's role. Yeah, so in the lighting pipeline, rarely used manually. Light mode basic pass. So this says new shader pass name basic pass. Well, this is like a totally custom. Oh man, do I need to start doing this with the implementation? Is that the proper syntax for this? I don't like it. It has render instead of execute. So this looks like you've got to go through and do the stuff. Yeah, that's a whole render pipeline. Where's Windows yelling at me? Okay, well I don't really need to do that. I just kind of want to. Like it'd be cool to just have a way where you could have a custom. Doesn't that seem reasonable? Like a scriptable render pass, like a custom scriptable render pass. Like, what does this actually get used for then? Register shader pass name. Cool. No information. Let's look at that one project we were checking out. This one? Render pipeline. Interesting. You can set the pipeline there. You can set the light mode. Blurred grab pass. What does that actually do for us? Anything? Nothing? Like so this seems different. This is in the outline pass with the execute. That's the implementation. This seems to not register a shader pass. Let's try this other one. No, that seems like not really what we want. Well, shucks. Boat attack. Under pipeline, lightweight mode. Maybe we just don't have control over those, unfortunately. That'd be kind of... Oops. We already looked at that. Multi-pass effect using this. Outline pass and lightweight forward. So this person is saying separate context at draw renders, which isn't that part of our it's part of our execute. That may not actually matter because in this case it's an override material, so that's fine, I guess. Maybe draw render settings is a way that we could change the like the name of the pass. The max user connections. Are you sure you're not connecting too many times, like in a loop, in one execution of the script? So you're using PDO MySQL. To close the connection, you need to destroy the object by ensuring that all remaining references to it are deleted. You can do this by assigning null to the variable that holds the object. If you don't do this explicitly, PHP will automatically close the connection when your script ends. So like, I don't think you have to close it. It just maybe feels like there's something else going on. Like maybe you're in a loop when you're doing your connections. Maybe, I don't know. Well, that is bull. Which part's bull? Render configuration. Can I set like the, so there's your render configuration. What does that mean? Like I want to have control in my, so draw settings, create render draw settings, render configuration none, supports dynamic batching. Like I want to be able to tell it like, hey, do this, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. The only advantage is that basically that the outline shader code would be in the same file, which would be slightly nice. Okay, so the thing that's missing from this lit shader that we care about is nothing except for the stencil. So if we added the stencil code to this guy, not to that, to this, then we would be good, I think. So if we did something, oh, am I gonna get away with this? Lit forward pass, simple lit. Well, let's just try this quickly. Connect once. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I feel your pain though. Okay, so we want to grab this lit shader. Oops. And steal it and add it to lit stencil. And then this doesn't feel great, but we just want to add this stencil code to that after the light mode forward is set. I think we just want to cram this right here. That doesn't seem good. Oh, then we need to fix the paths to the includes. That's annoying. Where do we need to do that? Lit input and lit forward pass. So in both of those cases, we have to add full paths, I would assume. Is that all right? Lit input HLSL, what was the? No, I need to be in shaders and not shader library. Maybe. You have to wait 8 hours for the connections to close. You can't just like restart the MySQL server. Kill it. Is this not the right? Lightweight. Slash shaders slash input. That seems like not totally made up, right? Slash shaders. Lit input and lit forward pass seem to be right there. Not crazy about some of this stuff. I don't feel quite right. Oh, I need to do it. Wait. I just have to do it in every, I got it. I did the right thing. I just didn't do it in all the places, I believe. How about that? Okay, so now I think, so now I have a lightweight lit stencil. And so I should be able to grab all of these and change these to lightweight lit stencil. Cool. That did the thing. That did the thing that I wanted. The pluses. Does this really need a mission? I think they do because they're so metallic. Okay. That that kind of worked, right? I haven't actually, my whole point of doing this was $30. I'd have to really see what the cool. So a couple things I would really like. I would like per object stroke control, and Unity's not great at that, at least the last time I've tried it. Like to set, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do that at all, actually. So the issue is this, is that width variable would have to be set for each thing. So each thing in the scene would need some set of properties that gave it a width. And so how could it know that? I don't know. I know in this one, this person did a thing where you could have differentiate based on, so basically you would iterate through, what was this strategy? So a layer thing. So you could say if you were on a certain layer, you could change the color. And so I could do something where the layer dictated. So basically you have to get all of the there's only 2 of those. So what would he actually do here? You would do 2 filters. Well, that sucks. Okay, that extra sucks then, actually. Because I think it'd be really hard to have a per object parameter there unless we could do the thing I was just describing and use our not do material replacement, but instead replace the whatever it's called. What is that called? Oh, you know, the thing. Changed the light mode. Like changed. Like I want my own light mode, basically. So declaring, no, not custom light model. I want custom light mode. Because then I could have that, I could have whatever parameters I wanted on a specific material, although that's maybe not exactly true because those, This is a little tricky, I think. Wait, live? Okay, it's a live server, users all over the world in the hundreds. Wait, are you clogging up all connections on that? Or is it like only 10 connections per one source or something? I forgot what your error was as far as what was actually throttling your... Where did you go, error? Max users connect. So user, so a single user. Okay, well, but I assume that that user is what you have to use. Well, cool. Yeah. Bummer. Well, take a nice 8-hour nap and wake up ready to go. Well, that's just dangerous. That's just dangerous to be developing against a live server and I just want my own SRP default unlit. There's a way to do this thing. So I'm slightly stuck on the right strategy here as far as how to have a good way for any individual object to specify what the line thickness is. Slack. Oh no. I stopped using Slack just because I was on too many Slacks. I was over slacked. How could I do this? This is a tricky thing. Like, I want individual objects to have parameters that will override what's going on in the shader. So you'd normally do that with material property block. But since this is like a weird shader replacement thing, I don't think that's what I want to happen. Like register shader pass name. I wish there was more explicit documentation on that. It is very possible I'm just totally missing something. Yeah, this seems like a person that I'm like that this person is sort of trying to do something like I'm doing. Why can't I just make something up? Can I really not? That kind of like seems like something I should be able to do, right? Like that seems like. Without knowing anything about anything, like I'd expect that to break. But it doesn't? Does it just not matter what that's called? Okay, that went away, so that's good. That's kind of what I would expect. And then this thing. Uh-oh, all the way broken. Like, apparently light mode is not the thing here. Maybe I can set a pass name. Pass can be given a name so that the use pass command can reference it. That really makes sense. Why is it angry? It's weird. So like use pass. For example, you might have a shader pass that draws object outline and you'd want to reuse that pass in other shaders. The use pass command is just that. It includes a given pass from another shader. No, that's not what I want. I thought that's what I wanted, but I think that's not what I want. Was name a tag? This doesn't feel good when I just start guessing because the documentation doesn't. Doesn't quite help me. The thing I want, I feel like should be possible. It seems like a reasonable thing. I don't want to replace. I just want to. The light mode tag. The passes role in the lighting pipeline. Like, this is how I would really want to do it, is say like, hey, there's a new pass here, and not this thing of like rendering in between, but like render after opaque. I really want to say like, hey, this is a pass and this is the time it needs to happen, but seems to maybe not be possible. Live website is using the same connection as an admin would. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good at all. That's horrible. The live website should have very restricted credentials. That thing is a different thing. So this is, I'm using the lightweight render pipeline, which is a new thing that only does single passes. So this is a shader that is probably doing the same thing I'm doing, but doing it in multiple passes would be my guess. Like, here's the drawing of the surface. Here's the drawing of the outline. So that's two passes in a single shader. So that's not, you can't do that with the lightweight render pipeline. And it does, it breaks a lot of things too. It like breaks GPU instancing and stuff like that. So this is kind of the traditional way to do it. I was just trying to do it in a fancier way with the new custom render pipelines. But maybe I can't. Although there's a bunch of like other light modes. Like when I look at, wait, they have an updated one? What do you mean? Fixed version. Important update. Oh. Ultimate outline reminds me of Ultima Online. 5 days ago. So recent. Still multiple passes, unfortunately. I mean, maybe I should just be doing it this way and not messing with this lightweight render pipeline stuff. But the part of the point of this exercise is for me to become familiar with the lightweight render pipeline. So I guess it's okay that I'm struggling a bit. It's just that this stuff is brand new and not very well documented. Or I'm just missing where it is documented. But I feel like the thing I'm asking for should not be, I could do it with a custom, a fully custom render pipeline, but I don't really want to do that. I don't think. I think I just want to, I guess I could. That would be kind of interesting to experiment with. But like when I look at this thing, it has names and light modes, and it would kind of be my assumption that I could do that too. Like name and light mode, name and light mode. Isn't the thing I just tried? Well, I guess I had the name inside a pass. Wait, what did I do? Inside a pass. Yeah. I don't know if that would actually make any difference. Like, you know, instead of doing this here, it's a little weird that that even is a pass, but whatever. Oops. That good or bad? But if I do this, it'll probably work. Like, oh wait, okay. Actually, if I did this, it would work, but I know that. I think it'll work anyway. Yeah, so that works. And then, but if I put nonsense in here and try that for, I don't think either combination of name or light mode is going to make this work. Yeah. Because I mean, I kind of assume that you can't just make up light modes. Which seems reasonable. I just don't know. It's just annoying that there's not like a way to do that. But maybe the way to do that is to have a totally custom. Oh, set shader pass name. Is this the thing that I wanted? We can draw the shader passes without pass name. Does this do the thing that I want? Shader pass name, draw render settings. Let's see. So that would mean in here, my draw render settings, I have that. But again, this may be only for totally custom things. So I already have draw. So this is draw render settings. This is create draw render settings. Does this take a pass name? No, but it does take a renderer configuration. So I don't know if this is gonna work. So this would be like draw settings. Set shader pass name. Well, that was sort of what I was imagining. Index of the shader pass to use. Set the shader pass that draws passes that. Set the shader passes that this draw call can render. So if I have like shader pass name is this, and then I'm just totally making stuff up here. So this wants a index of the shader pass to use. Set shader pass name. Well, they just say 1, so I'll just say 1. And that is the draw settings. Did I make everything match? Lightweight forward outline, lightweight forward outline. The pass name to use, lightweight forward outline, lightweight forward outline. So that seemingly did not actually help me, unless I just, which is very possible, did not understand this thing. We can draw the shader passes without pass name. Draw render settings with a camera and a pass name base. This is kind of weird because this is like in the creation of those, but I don't know. let's say your pipeline doesn't support forward pipeline shaders. Replace these shaders by the error pink shader with these settings. So shader pass name, render configuration. I feel like we're kind of close on this, but I mean, this at least seems semi-fruitful, right? Like, if I was going to make up what this function should be called, I would probably call it set shader pass name. But maybe that only works with like set pass name, scriptable render pipeline, scriptable render, how to use Unity features. Yeah, great. Pre-pass base, like I don't know. Maybe we're just not note that it takes a shader pass name. Okay. I have made note of that. I don't know. Maybe it's time to call it a day. Go out into the world. We made some progress today. We got some kind of lightweight rendering pipeline thing going with our own pass. It sucks though that we got to do all this. What are we missing here? Like, it seems register shader pass name. Does that actually mean anything? It seems like it should. It seems like a thing that should be important. And then setting the shader pass name seems like a thing that should matter. But when I try to draw it, it doesn't. Maybe I'm not supposed to mess with the light mode. Like, maybe I mess with the name and not the light mode. So if I just start changing things back. Well, that worked. Weirdly enough, that makes it seem like this doesn't actually do anything. This register shader pass name seems like it doesn't do. Does that actually not mean anything? Okay, apparently I do need that. Shader pass name. What's just not clear is if that's like actually the light mode or actually the shader, you know, like that's what's a little weird. Because if I leave this and I go here and I make the light mode just forward, but the name, like, is this really working with the name? Let's see. If we look at that lit shader, in all of these examples, both the name and the light mode change. That's not true, actually. Forward lit and lightweight forward. Light mode matches the shader pass name. Light mode matches the shader pass name set in Lightweight Render Pipeline CS. SRP default unlit and passes with no light mode tag are also rendered. SRP default unlit and passes with no light mode tag are also rendered. What if I was default for the light mode? I don't know. I'm done guessing for the moment, I think. So the reason I'm kind of hung up on this is if I'm gonna have if I want a per object line thickness for these outlines, I'm gonna need some way to do that. I'm gonna need some way to have a relationship between the thing I'm drawing and some parameters. And I can see how to do that with layers, but I don't think layers are like granular enough. I want really to be able to do it per thing. I don't want to have a million different layers for every single object. And so what would be great is if it could be a single material with a single shader that had an outline thickness parameter, but that only, instead of doing oh, is that actually my problem? No, because we didn't even get into that realm yet. We're not even in that realm. Like if we turned off this, I would assume that we would just kind of draw the same thing on top of itself, sort of. It's weird how that worked out, but I think that's kind of what we did, is just sort of drew the same thing again. And what's interesting about that, actually, now that I see that, is seems like I didn't maybe like do all this stuff. Front to back of the Z axis, I can, but that's kind of a separate problem. So the order of drawing, I mean, that is a separate set of problems. There's like the truly Z in space that is sort of like respecting the object's position in space and culling based on that. There's also just the ordering of rendering, but this is separate, where I want to have individual control for each of these on this separate render pass. And so right now the way I'm doing it is like just draw the whole scene, but draw it with this other weird material that doesn't know anything about anything, and just draws it and expands it, and then I draw all the color stuff separately. But I want to like mush those together where I don't, it's not some totally weird different shader. It's the main shader. It's just a specific pass of that shader that gets drawn. And I just, that seems like what this should do. Like this set shader path, maybe not, maybe that's not what that's supposed to do at all, but that seems like what it should be. Draw settings, set. Like instead of setting an override material, I would kind of want to set the shader pass name to, what was the tooltip for this? Set the shader passes that this draw call can render. But I don't think that's the same as just being able to like make up shader passes. So that one thing said they were specified in here. Now, actually, maybe there's a weird one that we could just steal. Is that file open source? No? Is it? Do I have that file? Because that'd be really handy. I don't think I do. I think it would be. I do have it. Well, this is a lot of stuff. So like, for example, that meta pass, where was that? Wait, did that lie to me? Didn't it say that it should be in here? Shader pass name set in lightweight render pipeline.cs. Lightweight render pipeline CS. Is it lying to me? Or like that meta pass? Am I just not looking in the place that I should? Lightweight render pipeline core. Okay, so what are some of the actual names in here? Like lightweight forward. Forward lit. Matches the shader pass name. So lightweight forward, you would expect to be some string somewhere, but maybe I'm not actually searching inside this module. The interfaces, lightweight render pipeline, additional camera data, additional light data. Like, where do you think the shader passes are set up? Is this comment just all a trick? A ruse? Render transparent. Okay, passes. Runtime passes. So I couldn't get in there, can I? Oh, passes. Look at all these passes. What does it mean? Scriptable render pass. Inherit from this class to perform custom rendering. Okay, I did. This is for custom rendering for specific details. I'll tell you, pass the shader pass name. Yeah, I'm curious how that gets used. Okay, but like render opaque forward pass, for example. Lightweight forward SRP unlit, like. Although that's weird because it seems like it should have. Oh, interesting. I'm still not clear on whether or not I can just make up shader passes because that's what I want to do. I just want to be like, this shader pass is called Jeremy. like transparent forward pass. String constants. That's the high definition string constants. Is there not a low definition string lightweight string constants? Because these are all the things. So yeah, like forward, depth only, forward only, G buffer, all these things. But what is actually used in lightweight just seems to be, I mean, who knows? Maybe something is more deeply baked in there. But if it's just what is exposed here in these passes, like depth only pass is going to have depth only, which matches what that is. I bet there's a meta pass. Maybe there's not. Well, then what calls meta? That's even weirder. And what is calling the shadow passes then? Mainlight Shadowcaster pass. I wonder how you register all these. Like what's telling, because these are just the thing. These are just, okay, interesting. So these are just passes, just like what I'm creating. It's just like how you enqueue those, I think. Am I way off on this? Am I totally off? Am I totally lost? It's possible. I feel like we're so close. Like, if I didn't do a material replacement and I just called, I'm gonna try one more time. Like, for example, if we did, in this dude, if like set the shader pass name, I'm not sure that's important, versus the register shader pass name. Because we just made this up. I don't know that we actually need that. Okay, so if this seems to work, but if we get rid of overriding, like I'm not going to override this, in my mind would just be like, hey, draw the thing. This is probably going to look weird. Yeah. So what if we just tried some of these other, so this is still using the lit, our copy of the lit shader. And like, I would assume we can just start like, what if we, I don't know what this will do. Probably not actually work or anything. I'm just trying to get it to now I don't want it to draw. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So if we were like in here and we had Shadowcaster, we'd really want our own. Like, what does meta do? What vertex meta? Those are probably all in here. What does depth only do? Try to tell if black is because it's like rendering some Shadowcaster layer, or if don't ask you. I don't know. The thing about this, which is kind of fun but also kind of frustrating, is that I don't think anybody has experience with this. I mean, we're very, very few people because it's just so new, which is why I can't do my normal easy strategy of like just assume that somebody knows what they're doing on Stack Overflow. So what could be cool? Like, what if I did Shadowcaster and then just put something insane? Like, made my own fragment shader. So all we'd have to do is have a fragment frag here and cram that in. And then we would just return red. I don't know. I feel like the summed up documentation from communities of Unity solutions are very slim. It kind of depends on what the context is, I guess. I feel like there's some things that I don't have. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, certain pieces I feel like are very well documented and very clear, especially parts of it that have just been around for a long time. And then certain pieces are just borderline incomprehensible. Okay, so we probably want this Shadowcaster pass and figure out what parameters its fragment shader takes. That's not right. I need not the pass. I need the this. So their frag looks like this. So we just need varying's input. Maybe. What'd I do? Is that what I complained about? Look at that. Oh my gosh. Lilybite. Where have you been all my life? I just made everything turn red, which I'm very excited about. I know I've been gone for so long. I'm trying to get back into it. Life is yours. It's distracting me all the time with my SQL question. It's outrageous. How have you been? How are your holidays? Okay, so this kind of worked, which is good. Now the real question is, can I just call it something crazy? Shadowcaster crazy. Okay, so this I would expect to not work at all. Why is it working? Okay, great. Didn't work at all. So what can I change in here? Is it the name or is it the light mode? Like, is it both? That kind of looks like it's working. So can I call this outline? Why is this working this way? Wait, what? One question? What did I do? Life is yours. Is your brain melting from MySQL? I think this is working now. So I think I can grab my outline shader, and I think I can just cram this pass in there as my outline pass. Maybe we don't break all this stuff. Is my brain melting? Maybe my brain's melting. Okay, now it doesn't work. Okay, but is there some secret? Is there some other secret HLSL program? Let's try this again. If I like, is he right on? Like, do I need to add some more smoothness, texture, albedo, channel A? Like, okay, let's try this a slightly different way. Let's make a copy of Shadowcaster pass. And call it Shadowcast. Let's call this just outline. Is this gonna work now? Outie line? Oh man, I know I blew it. Okay, next time I will try to remember to turn on low latency so that I know what you're talking about and you know what I'm talking about and everybody knows they're talking about, except I don't know what I'm talking about. Vert, frag, app data. Oh, maybe that actually was working, but my offset was null. That is a possibility. Okay, now it's like truly broken at this moment. Is that because we needed some other include? Probably. Does this not have all that stuff? Like the macros and everything? Let's cram it in then. Redefinition of color. Yeah, let's just get rid of wait, what? Let's just make things up for the moment. Actually, let's get rid of this. Let's just return white. That's fine. And there's no fixed in HLSL or something. Okay, well that's weird because it almost kind of looks like it's doing what it's supposed to do. This number, okay, that seems like a thing. So what is missing? Like, I don't even know what some of this stuff is. I need. I'm gonna delete things until it stops working. This kind of seems like it's starting to work for reasons I do not understand. I mean, it doesn't look right, but the fact that it is doing anything at all is very promising. What if I just delete all this stuff? Okay. So the thing, seemingly the only thing really missing now is the stencil. Which should just go right here. I think it worked. Oh my gosh. cool. Why did that work that way and not when I would... Whatever. Okay. That kind of seemed like it worked. Let's see. Do I need any other stuff here? I don't know that I do. I don't know that I actually need any of this, like z-testing or culling or any of that stuff. I don't know that I need for the outline. You probably don't want to know how it works. Well, the way it looks like it works is that it's just like text string matching. And because that, it just seems like put a string here and then it matches against, I presume, the light mode. But I feel like when I was initially trying to just make up light modes, it was not happy with me. Okay. So I probably don't need this. So I probably need those macros. So this is just returning light. So this is okay. So I can now add my own fields that I want up here. Oh, that's nonsense. So for example, I could, I believe, add what time is it? Outline color. And default that to white. And outline weight and make that a range. This may not actually draw if it has a custom inspector, but I guess we'll see. Okay, this is good. I like it when I just make things up because they seem like they should be possible and then they turn out to be possible. That I feel like is, that's like some sign of the Unity developers are doing things right. If you can just be like, I think this is how this should work, and then it actually seems to work that way. Seems pretty good. Okay, so the thing I should be able to do now is for any individual material, unless they have a custom, like custom editor for it. They do, but let's just turn that off. And then I should have my new stuff I added. Yeah, okay, so I have my new stuff. And now, I don't quite know the syntax for this. So I've got color there. And where else? Why would it only be used there? Like, is it going to be mad at me if I do something like this? And then I can just return the outline color. Like, I really want this to be the absolute simplest the shader can possibly be. Look at that. That's why I'm a magician, because I just make up things that I want to be true, and then sometimes they turn out to be true. Well, yeah, then I can have different weights for this. I'd still like to add some per. I may just go through and delete a ton of this stuff because it seems unnecessary. And now I can add my planets, and I actually would like to just have one planet that let me set the color in a material property block. then the pluses can have their outlines. So the thing that's just still probably not going to work very well is the dash. Yeah. And it's actually because of a problem with the way that those are Unity default cubes, and it's just a problem with the way that geometry is made. But even with that geometry correct, we still have this layering problem that I don't, at this moment, have a great solution for. But performance-wise, looks not too shabby. And now the question is really, is my GPU instancing working? Whoa, that doesn't look good. Unity. Wow. Unity's having a rendering problem. So this probably isn't being instanced, right? Unless, now let me try the eyeball instancing where it instances across eyeballs. Single pass instanced. Only supported on Windows. Multipass we use on other platforms. Well, that's kind of lame, actually, because I eventually want this to go to mobile. So maybe I don't want to do that. I'm going to do it just for a moment, just to see if that actually... So now this batch is 49. It doesn't seem like it's actually working. Is it because I just don't have the headset on? Maybe I broke the shader in some way. Or like my, the outline's not batchable or something, who knows. Weirdly, that costs 3 draw calls, but I think that makes sense because I think it is drawing the face really only one time, but the outline is getting drawn twice. I need a good way to be able to toggle the outline mode. That still doesn't work quite how I would expect it to. I don't know why, but we will solve that problem another day. I feel pretty good about what we did today. The I mean, the fact that we have lightweight render pipeline stuff working at all is a heartening thing. Oh no! Okay, this was a pretty good one. The outline. The outline is not being drawn in stereo. I'm only seeing the outline on one eye. Is that because of that weird setting, or is it because of the way that I'm doing something with the shader? It's kind of funny. Okay, no, now it's okay. It was just that thing. So for some reason in that particular mode, eyeballs were only being drawn. I mean, the outline was only being drawn to the left eyeball. Look at that cute little guy. Okay, I'm liking this outline much better. In general, the outlines look good. The dashes are still a serious problem that I don't have a great solution for. What's the solution? I don't know. I guess I could do something crazy where I rendered, So what I was just trying to imagine is if I always drew behind, maybe that would help. Instead of, I mean, like, again, in this case, I'm actually drawing the outline on top and just cutting a hole in it like a stencil. And that's part of why that dashing coming through the outlines is true, just because the outlines can't occlude anything that are in the stencil buffer. Maybe I could add something to the shader to have multiple stencil buffers or something like that. I don't quite know, but I think this guy looks pretty good. I think in general the lightweight render thing is working pretty well. The dashes, what do we do about those dashes? Like the stars. We need some kind of texture. We got to get some textures in now, I think, if we're going to kind of go that direction. Just so the sky's not so flat. Told you something about his eyeballs. Also, at some point I should figure out what this thing actually is. I think he might like make musical little planets. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, what exactly is this guy gonna do? Is this weird puppet thing viable in any way? Like, he could just sort of point at things, I guess. I don't know. I don't know the answer. But it is 18:19 Pacific Standard Time, and I think it's time to end the stream. So thank you to Draklin and to Lily and to Vix for stopping by, and of course to Life is Yours, the diamond in the rough. I like your diamond icon. Should I make some special custom things? Oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that at some point, right? Like make emotes. That's a thing I can do now. 3:20, go to bed and wake up and have some OpenMySQL connections. Oh yeah, I forgot. I made my title GPU Plumber, and it was true. These pipelines worked out reasonably well. You're a shining diamond. You're like a diamond dog. Go watch the trailer to all the early release trailers of Metal Gear Solid 5, which is still so good. Okay, you are a shining diamond. I am going to sign off. I'm pretty pleased with this. There's still some major problems with it that I don't actually have a solution for. But I think it's pretty cool. Man, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's a really weird way we could do this with the... We'll need to dive in and like look at how the lightweight render pipeline does its passes, because if there's a way that we could enqueue this at some other stage of the process, basically instead of saying do this before you or do this after you draw everything, like to be able to draw this in the midst, I guess, of drawing all the other passes. Because when you do get pass to enqueue, there's a render texture descriptor, a handle for the color, and a handle for the depth. And then you can just draw to that thing after the opaque pass. I guess we could do it later and do it as part of the transparent pass. I don't know. Who knows? Yes, have a good one. Thank you for stopping by. I'm getting distracted. I'm distracting myself now. It's not even just you. Okay, have a lovely time, lovely evening. Farewell to all. Until next time.